Hey, David, why are the most dangerous cities run by Democrats? So this is a pretty old trope, and I maybe we can kind of address this piece by piece. Donald Trump and Republicans have been harping on this a lot. Democrat-run cities are riddled with violence, so vote for me instead of Joe Biden, even though, of course, Trump is already president and there's still violence in those cities. So there's a few things you have to understand. Most cities are run by Democrats, period. So violent cities are run by Democrats and nonviolent cities are run by Democrats, to use crass terminology. Additionally, the violence is disproportionately in urban areas. So when you think about cities instead of areas, you start to get this talking point that Trump has been repeated. So if you look at mayors, 35 of the 50 largest cities are run by Democrats, 13 are run by Republicans, and 2 are Democratic leaning independents. So because more cities are run by Democrats, you have to account for that in your analysis. The large Republican cities are San Diego, run by Republican mayors, San Diego, Jacksonville. Jacksonville is more dangerous than the average in Florida. It's run by a Republican. Fort Worth, Texas, run by a Republican. It's more dangerous than the average of Texas in terms of crime rates. El Paso, Texas is safer than average for Texas. Oklahoma City, run by a Republican, more dangerous than average. So what you really just have to understand is that there is a sort of base rate bias that you have to account for. The largest cities run by Democrats are the largest cities in the country. Crime tends to be greater in places with large population density for a number of different reasons that we understand. Cities have more crime because they're more densely populated. Cities also vote more for Democrats because they are more cosmopolitan, higher education rates. We know more educated people tend to vote for Democrats instead of Republicans. And that does not directly link to the crime is because the mayor is a Democrat. And this has been widely debunked, and it doesn't even pass the sniff test. There is not actually any correlation between crime and Democratic mayors when you account for crime being more prevalent in cities and the fact that Democrats lead a majority of the cities in the United States, including cities with low crime rates. Now, when you look at the South, for example, and the South at both the city and state level is disproportionately under Republican rule, they have some of the highest poverty rates in the United States. Does that mean that Republican rule causes poverty? Maybe it does. And that's a better argument, quite frankly, than crime in so-called Democrat cities. But you still have to look at details and understand more to really know what it is that is going on. Now, when this conversation comes up, we also shouldn't ignore a broader context about crime, that crime has been decreasing for decades overall. And we might be better served understanding that and also looking at areas rather than just cities. What Republicans do is they shift the focus to cities rather than areas. And that allows them to play on these bigoted racist ideas that the city is filled with these scary minorities who are going to rob you and sexually assault you, and sort of like the Willie Horton ad type of mentality. What that shifts attention away from is the reality that Republican-dominated areas have violent crime that on a per capita basis is just as bad as a lot of the cities. Cities have more people and have more population density. So you are going to see more crime in sort of an absolute sense. So when Trump talks about the number of shootings in a city, those are not per capita numbers. And in order to really assess this, you have to zoom out a little bit and look at areas rather than just cities. And of course, cities overwhelmingly run by Democrats because Democrats tend to be more interested in being in cities. It really throws the entire idea in the trash. Now, one other thought about this. Even if, let me see how to say this the right way. Even if on a per capita basis, there was less violent crime in Republican run areas than democratically run areas, it ignores the fact that people in the Republican areas suffer in many other ways as well, right? Economic deprivation is disproportionately in the United States in Republican run areas. Now, on a population on a raw numbers basis, they are less populated areas. But on a per capita basis, if you look at economic deprivation, underinvestment in government, terrible resources, bad infrastructure, all this stuff, you see it on a per capita basis disproportionately in Republican areas. And that's important to bring into the conversation as well. Although it's like, I'm talking to you guys, the people that just repeat violent Democrat cities aren't willing to hear this. So those are a few thoughts. We've got a great bonus show for you today. Get instant access to the bonus show by becoming a member at joinpakman.com or a patron at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. One of our sponsors today is Vincero Watches, and they're giving you up to 30% off everything in their store when you go to davidpakman.com/watch. If you're looking for an awesome way to update your look, the perfect way to do it is with an elegant, high-quality wristwatch. When there's a company like Vincero, there is no reason to go spending thousands of dollars on a watch. Vincero is an American company that's made it possible to own an excellent watch without breaking the bank. All of their watches are masterfully built with high-end materials, but they're all in the range of about $150 to $250. I just got a watch from their Icon Automatic collection. The one I got is in gunmetal and slate blue. I love the look. It's sleek, classy. It's clear that a lot of careful craftsmanship went into the design. It is definitely my new favorite watch. You'll get up to 30% off everything in their store when you go to davidpakman.com/watch. I've put the link right underneath this video.